Raymund, good to see you.
It's very good to see you.
How do you see China's transformation, high quality growth, combined with all these opportunities and challenges worldwide?
Great question. In terms of, obviously, China is going through transition into driving quality growth from where it was before. And organizations are going through the same thing in terms of transforming their businesses to take on the opportunities of what quality growth is. So as part of that transformation, obviously what we've seen over the last little while and more recently, two major factors that's going to define, it's actually creating a lot of challenges for everybody, whether it's organizations, whether it's countries, whether it's individuals. And all businesses need to continue to reinvent themselves, what we call, or go through that transformation. First of all, obviously, is generative AI, technology, and then secondly, climate change. Climate change has big impact on organizations and oftentimes is overlooked. And people look at climate change as, oh, it's a government thing, it's a country thing. No. Is a country thing, is a government thing, is a business thing, is an individual thing. And businesses better embed climate change agenda into their business model. And that's part of the business model reinvention that organizations need to go through.
So China, of course, are looking at these two fronts, right? But the question is, how would these moving factors reshape China's way of doing things, now trying to seek high quality growth? What have you observed so far, some of the grassroots, transformation that are taking place right now?
Let me just give you a couple of quick examples. Sure. Let's talk about energy transformation, for example, in relation to climate change. In 2022, and we don't have 2023 figures yet, they will come out and that number will be even bigger. 2022, the world spent $1.1 trillion US on energy transition. And guess how much of that was contributed by our country, by China? 48%. China is the biggest contributor to energy transformation in order to make this a better world. And that's very important.
Think about the 1.4 billion consumers that all want a car, right? Yeah.
And then obviously electric cars. We exported 5 million, this last year.
Right.
Electric cars. And we are by far the biggest investments or in terms of solar panels for the world. Right. So we're contributing a lot in this agenda. But there's a lot to be done as well, because we're still relying heavily on fossil fuel, and it's still going through transformation. Actually, the world is still very much reliant on fossil fuel today. 80% of the world's energy is still produced from fossil fuel.
But of course, even about electric cars, I'm just trying to give some examples and different aspects. You see so-called investigation against the batteries that is decided by the European side. That's just one of those examples of some nuance related to China's eagerness to have a high quality development. So how do you see these nuances likely to work with China's determination, the basic logic of transformation taking place in the country?
Unfortunately, I think we should expect that nuances will continue. But what's important is for us, just, for people like you and I and others, that we need to continue to talk and tell the world what China is about. Talk about China for them to better appreciate China's opportunities and what China is all about. Oftentimes what we see in the Western world is there's a complete misunderstanding and there's been misrepresentation and they received incorrect information. And actually I was at a meeting with a lot of different people, and they were so glad to see me because they want to better understand China. And it is important that we continue to support our country and make sure that we present a proper picture.
But many people ask, is China still going to welcome me? So when I go into China, will there be surveillance against me? Do I need to change my phone when I go to China just in case? Or whether when I live in the hotel, anybody gonna jump into my room? You know, these are the questions they ask their lawyers, and the lawyers say, maybe, so maybe you better not to go, just to be safe. So these are a lot of circulation of information like this.
Which is completely wrong. And in fact, I had that particular question from people.
Yeah.
And I said, it's just totally wrong. China's opening up. China will continue to open up. That's very clear. And in fact, just recently, for certain countries, you don't even need a visa to go to China. Right. That's just a demonstration of the fact that we are continuing to open up. We welcome
Germany,
foreign
France,
investments.
today
Exactly.
Switzerland, right?
Exactly.
As well. So.
But there are people out there who don't want us or don't want to truly understand what China is all about, and we need to change that. And people like you and I should speak more at these events about all the opportunities in China.
But people will say, oh, you're doing propaganda for China.
Well, I'm not. I'm just a business person, right? I don't and I'm there every day. And actually the business community want to talk to me because they believe that they will hear the true story from me.
Yeah, really,
because they can't get it from what they read every day. They know it's going to be negative anyway.
When I come to Davos this time, I would expect people come up to me and ask, so how is China now? But I also noticed quite a number of people that we got to know over the past 10 to 15 years here in Davos. They came up to us and say, oh, I just made a trip. Let me tell you what I saw in China. So actually what we are looking at is not only the lack of information about China these days, but also lack of sharing of information, even from outside China visiting China. So how to deal with that is another interesting question, isn't it?
No, I think that's good. I think there are those who really understand China, and we got to leverage. I mean, not leverage, but we should get them to engage more, because there's still a lot who don't, and they're getting misinformation. And I've been trying to do a lot to make sure that they have a better understanding. And what's important, though, I think a piece of very important information from our survey, which I think people all talk about, there are a lot of challenges, and you saw the question I was asked on, but a piece of very important information. Every year in the survey, we asked the CEOs around the world, where are the top destinations that you would consider for your investments? And it's always been, U.S. is first, China is second. It's been like that for many years. So, reflecting, the largest economy, the second largest economy. And so I paid a lot of interest this year to find out what that answer is. And the very good news is China continues to be number 2. So that hasn't changed. From a CEO's mindset, they still view China, they continue to view China as a very important market. As the second largest economy with 1.4 billion people, and going through and driving quality growth going forward, which will give them opportunities.
What we are hearing a lot is global companies, for example, establishing their subsidiaries in China, or another big, gigantic manufacturing center in China. And then they have different things going on related to China. One is to compete with our Chinese competitors for the Chinese market, but at the same time compete with our Chinese competitors for the international market. Yet at the same time, working with our Chinese competitors in cooperation, both for China and also for the rest of the world. So this is a very intertwined, a very interesting, just like human, isn't it? It's different natures of relationship within one pair of interaction. This is a very nuanced situation.
No, I think that's perfectly fine. It's healthy competition.
Indeed.
And I think, what's important, though, I think, is we should all establish more trust, whether it's businesses to businesses, whether it's country to country, etc., etc., where there's individuals. And the reason why I say that is some of the issues we're dealing with in the world requires us to be closer together. We've seen how the world has drifted apart.
And we know what it has achieved as a result.
So whether you call it deglobalization, whether you call it decoupling or de-risking, that's not good for just the world, for everybody.
Yeah.
That's going to make everybody worse off, in my view. And clearly it has.
It's great to have another conversation with you this time. Good to see you, Raymond.
It's very good to see you.
All the best.
All the best.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.